Ain't no way we got Tupac in a video game before GTA 6. If y'all missed it, this week we had the State of Play and the Summer Games Fest, and there were probably 50 games showcased across announcements, teasers, trailers, gameplay. I'm going to touch on as much as I can without wasting much time, and just really focusing on the heavy hitters here. So like I was saying about this Tupac game, Stranger Than Heaven is a new Yakuza RPG. The teaser was very short, so I don't know exactly what it's going to be about, but Snoop Dogg was there to help kick off the presentation for this game. And then in the teaser, we see Snoop Dogg and Tupac as like sensei-like figures. So that was definitely going to be interesting. Then we had an announcement for The Last Ronin from Paramount Games. It was just a teaser. We then had the huge announcement of RE Veronica, which is the Code Veronica remake. This is the only Resident Evil that I've not played, so I am so excited for this. Then we had The Blood of Dawnwalker. This, to me, basically looks like The Witcher 3, but you're a vampire with powers instead. We then had like a re-announcement of The Wolf Among Us 2, so that'll be coming out next year. But if you haven't played the original Wolf Among Us, there is a remaster coming at the end of this year, so it's the perfect time to play it. And then there's an Among Us story game. Just had to mention that. Then we also saw Star Wars Zero Company, which is like a Star Wars XCOM strategic top-down view type of game. And they confirmed that Anakin is going to be in it. Then we had Lords of the Fallen 2. I was not a huge fan of Lords of the Fallen, but if that's your thing, there you go. Then next we have Crossfire. It really just looks like a modernized Army of Two, but I am all for that. It is a narrative story mode game, and I really hope that they have co-op for this. But it follows two mercenaries that are like at odds with each other, but given their circumstances, they're having to work together to get out of whatever situation they're in. And the little bit of gunplay that we saw looked very solid. But I will gripe about one thing. There was a dev there during the showcase for the game that was talking about this new adaptive cover that they developed. It's supposed to be like this new super innovative combat system, and then they show a clip of it. And literally all it looks like it is that the character just crouches and stands up higher based on the height of the cover that they're using. It looks insanely simple, and I just cannot stand whenever devs try and glaze some mechanic that they developed, like we saw with Black Ops 6. And it's just kind of like, We'll see, I could be wrong, but it just looked very baseline to me. And then a huge announcement for Alien Isolation 2. I mean, this game has been a long time coming. If you know, you know. Next, we have Gen Atlas. This is from some of the folks behind Shadow of the Colossus, and you can see it bleeding throughout this game. It basically just looks like a sci-fi futuristic version of Shadow of the Colossus. There are these towering robots that it looks like you're climbing. We'll see more about that in the future, but it looks awesome. And then another two announcements that were pretty huge, but just not my thing. We had an announcement of Final Fantasy XII Revelation, and then Stellar Blade Blood Rain, which is the sequel to that game. So I know some people are going to be really hyped about that. Wolverine, Insomniac's new game. We got an 8-minute gameplay trailer of that, and that's coming out in September. Going to be huge. We got the introduction of Jean Grey and Sabretooth, and we saw Leech in that one as well. Saw some combat, saw Logan's healing factor as a last stand gameplay mechanic, which was really cool. So yeah, that one's going to be awesome. And then we got the confirmation of Ill. This is a new horror game from Munfish. It looks like the most unique horror game that I've seen in a while. And I thought that it was never going to come out, but we got a 2027 date. And then Until Dawn 2, we just got a story trailer for that. And then The Lost Wilds. This looks like a survival horror game with dinosaurs. I at first thought it was going to be a new Turok game, but all we saw was like a little bit of gameplay, just some sneaking around dinosaurs, and it looks menacing. And then we got God of War Le Fay. The internet has been torn on this one. I have myself a little bit. Not because I don't want to play as Le Fay. I think that it's going to be an interesting story, especially with her being in the Everywin and her fighting all of these other gods of war and possibly set up the final Kratos and Atreus game. That is my only gripe. I just wanted another Kratos and Atreus game to finish their trilogy. I know Kratos' story is also kind of over, but just selfishly, I want more Kratos. But I'm still very excited for this game. That's all that I'm going to cover in this, but there's so much more that was announced. We truly are about to have a generational couple of years here with gaming. Curious to know which one y'all are most excited for. But yeah, we're eating.